Good afternoon, everybody. Great to see everybody again. My name is Jay Cotton. I am a Microsoft Cloud Solution Architect based here on the West Coast. And today we're going to be talking about data loss prevention policies, how they relate to Copilot, Copilot Chat, Copilot the paid version, Copilot Chat, basically the version you get with your licensing, and even Copilot agents as well. So these can apply across a lot of different things. In particular, we're going to be talking about how to use sensitive information types as our trigger for these DLP policies. As you remember, or may not, but historically, we've been able to use sensitivity labels as a key for our DLP policies, which was great and it was fantastic, but it's a little limited. So now we can actually use sensitive information types in the prompts itself. And I'm going to show you what that looks like here. So let's go ahead and pop into the tenant. So here we are in my tenant. And I'm going to create a brand new policy from scratch. Notice it does make some recommendations, safeguard sensitive data. So I'm going to create a brand new policy. And it's going to be for enterprise applications and devices. I'll cover inline web traffic at another time. So this is going to be a custom template, completely blank. And I'll call this Copilot Medical 2. I have one named Copilot Medical already. Give a simple description. I'm not going to be using admin units for my scope, but you can. I'm not going to go into admin units at the moment, but it's a way you can scope things out that's done via Azure Active Directory. And I'm going to use Copilot as a location. Notice it basically takes everything else off the screen there. So it's just now Copilot. And you can see it's very easy to scope this out. Right now, it's just scoped to all users and groups, but you can scope this out specific users and groups for your testing purposes, 10 people in your SOC, whatever that may be, or your compliance team. So very easy to test this out and then get it rolling at scale later. And I'm going to create a brand new rule. So this rule, I'm going to call it Copilot Medical 2. And here are my conditions. So this is what I'm going to be looking for. And up until this point, we've only had the option to create and use this via sensitivity labels. But now we have sensitive information types. And this could be any types of sensitive information. It could be the canned out of the box sets that we have out there already, or it could even be your custom sets that you create. So I'll just pick one and I'll show you a couple examples. So I'll look at this one. This is what I'm going to use. So I'm going to use medical terms and conditions for this one. But also notice I could use customs as well. So I'll go back to that, switch this up, and then we go all the way to the bottom. You will see the ones that I have created. And you can see there's a couple in here. These are a couple of trainable classifiers. If I look for MRN, you can see here's one that I also created. This is an MRN number. I used regex. Of course, this is going to vary. Pretty much every healthcare institution I work with has different MRN setups. So you'd have to work with that one, but just to know that you can use these MRN number or these custom sensitive information types as your predicates for these policies. I'm going to go back to medical terms and conditions because that's the one I'm going to use for the demonstration. So all medical terms and conditions, pretty blanket one, but useful in the healthcare space. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. Now I'm going to say high confidence, medium, low. Guidance on this one, it's, I tend to use low for my testing and then I kind of ramp it up as I get more confident about what it's doing. But I'll get low confidence at this point. And then I'm looking from 1 to any. So 1 medical term condition up to any. It could be 9,999,000, however that may go. So I'm just going to kind of do a blanket statement here on this one. Notice I could add more. So if I want to put another sensitive information type, I could. But notice now, as soon as I use a sensitive information type, sensitivity labels are grayed out. So if you want to use sensitivity labels still for a DLP policy when it comes to Copilot, you'll have to create 2 policies. So you have to create one for sensitive information types and then one for sensitive information labels. So just be aware of that one. But I could put more in here if I want to do more sensitive information types. I want to combine this with my MRN, which I'll just do for this demonstration. We'll have it in there. So I could have 2 of these in here now. Same piece. So you can have multiple in the same rule. And then what am I going to do? What happens when you hear this? And you'll have it basically restrict Copilot from processing content. I click there. click on processing prompts. Notice I just have the block action right now. I do expect the time, remember this is in preview, for this to actually give us the option of doing things like, you know, uh, let it continue have a user override like we do for email. I do expect that to come at some point, but right now it's just a block. So be aware of that. But that's really what we're trying to get at. And then you have the other options in the DLP policy, right? Who do I want to send instant alerts to? Don't want to send instance to certain people. And when they occur, maybe it's my SOC team, whatever, whoever your admins for Purview, in particular DLP admins, are going to get these emails anyways, these alerts. But I can also have email alerts sent out as well. And then how many times do I want to see it? Do I want to see an alert every single time it does match the rule? For now, I'm going to leave that checked. But you can also have these options where you do, we see 10 activities. That's when it'd fire off an alert, depending on how that goes. I'll keep it here for now. I click save, and that's all there is to it. That's how simple this is to set up. Really, it's not much to it. Again, it's still a testing and make sure you roll it out properly. So I'll put that in there. I'll hit save. Now I have my rule. I click next, and I'm going to run it. Actually, I'm going to turn it on immediately. So this will turn on that policy immediately. I hit submit, and we're off and running. So everything I'm talking about here is on this particular article. So learn the DLP Copilot location, learn about. All you have to do is type in Copilot DLP sense information types. You'll get to this page. It'll find it for you. Or just ask Copilot. It'll get it here too. Either way works. So this is what I'm referring to. Very few caveats right now. We don't have licensing. I do believe it's going to be an E5 license SKU. Don't quote me on that one. I really don't know. We don't really have it called out quite yet. They're going to say they're going to talk about it at the same pace. But there's this call out where you can only use either sensitive information types or sensitivity labels in one policies. So if you want to do both, they'll have to be two separate policies. So just keep that in mind. The other piece it also does call out here is this part. And I'm going to show you this too. So during the preview, when I'm trying to use Copilot, remember you have Copilot available in Word, PowerPoint, Excel, quite a few other places. But that's what it supports at this point. Of course, also the Copilot app itself, which I'm going to show you the demos in. They're all in there. But when you're doing it in Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, it's not going to have the same verbiage as it will in the Copilot app when I'm actually putting these prompts in. And I'll show you exactly what that looked like. It's expected. It's not going to say your organization has blocked this. It's basically going to give you an error in Word or Excel or PowerPoint that it can't do it. It's just going to say I can't do it. Now, again, this is in preview. I do expect that to be fixed relatively soon, but just keep that in mind. But let's go ahead and take a look at what this actually looks like. So I've got a bunch of different medical terms and conditions kind of already set up. So I'm going to start off with just a basic one. And I'm going to pull up the Copilot app. So this is a licensed user. I do have the work web toggle up top. So easy way to know if you're licensed. But this will also work on the non-licensed version of Copilot, or the Copilot that comes with your M365 subscription. Now, this isn't, of course, for the commercial Copilot. We want to make sure that we are logged into our tenant. We do have our enterprise data protection flag turned on. That basically knows you're logged into the Copilot for your organization at this point. So I'm just going to do something very simple. Please summarize what this means. And I'm going to put in asthma. And I'm going to send that prompt off. And you're going to see Copilot's going to think about it for a second. And it's going to tell me this request cannot be completed because your organization has blocked Copilot from responding to some types of content. So this is that DLP rule in effect. And in fact, you can go back if you look at your alerting. So here are my alerts. Now that one probably hadn't came through quite yet, but all the rest of my testing you can see. And once that builds, you'll see the alerts pump in here. And these are the alerts you're going to see when they're coming up. You can see here who did it, what happened, when it happened. You can see January 20th is testing I was doing this afternoon. You can also see who did it, location. I'll show you more of that one. But I can click into these and we get even more information. It'll go through and it'll tell us, hey, you know what? This happened. You can see when it happened. You can see which rule it actually triggered. So you can see this one was done in Word. So I will show you that example in a second. You can see which DLP policy it matched. And then you can drill into the events if you want to go into here, click on Manage Alerts and see even more of it. So just be aware that this is exactly how it looks like in your console, in your alerts console, when somebody is doing or putting that information into Copilot that you've created these DLP rules about. Now that was just here in the Copilot app itself. Now I'll switch over to a Word doc really quick, and the same thing is going to happen if I were to do this in PowerPoint or from Excel. I guess you could put that data in Excel. I'm not trying to, I don't see I'm going to be doing asthma, but you never know what people put in Excel. So, and I'll do the same thing. Summarize this into document. And I'm going to put in asthma again. And this time you're not going to have that nice little wording that says administrator has blocked this, your organization has blocked this. It's just going to throw me an error. And you'll see the error on the screen. Copilot cannot highlight content for this. Please change your description and try again. So that's what the error is in Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. Like I said, this functionality is still in preview, so I do expect it to be changed. I expect that same sort of wording that we see here to come into the applications as we go as well. So that's it. Very simple to put up, very easy to test, and very easy to roll out. So thank you all so much. I hope you enjoyed that video. Stay tuned on this LinkedIn channel. You're going to see more of these come out as the year progresses. Everybody have a great rest of the day, great rest of the week, and we'll talk soon. Thank you again.